here's why you're wrong.
On the podcast known as
Trapped Under Plastic, the movie, the disco hit.
That was a reference that neither John or I understood. Maybe the comment section can help us out.
Yeah, I think if we just copy pasted that into Google, it would probably be like a really like Academy Award winning movie.
Yeah.
Like, duh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, probably.
That was the line in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, Boogie Nights, okay. PTA movie. I don't know if you guys know this, or maybe John, you don't know this either, but there are a lot of movies out there, and there's a lot to see. You could probably watch one every single day for the rest of your life, and then when you die, you still wouldn't have seen 5% of all movies in the world.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad movies.
That's true. I've been watching a lot of them. That's kind of my bread and butter.
Yeah. I like do this thing where it's like if I'm going to watch a movie, I feel like I either need to like have enough of a grasp about what it is so I can tell myself, even if it's not great, that I'm still like happy because like my expectations are set up, right?
Yeah.
Just like going in blind and having like no connection to what the movie experience is going to be, I often find like, oh, that is shaky ground.
Yeah, yeah. And also when you are watching a movie in a group, that kind of amplifies that experience. It's like, I need to find a movie that none of us have seen, but I have some kind of certainty that will be a good movie for all of the people in this group right now.
That's a level of pressure to put on yourself.
It is. And like you're sitting there, and when I do that, I'm often sitting there kind of like watching everyone else. I'm like, are they enjoying this?
Do they like it?
Do they like it?
Because if they don't enjoy it at least like a 7 out of 10, you're a fucking shitty friend.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't go that far.
Yeah, I do that with my wife too, and I'm just like, oh man, I really feel like this is a movie. I think you're gonna like this or whatever. And then we're like half hour in, and she's like, I'm like, no.
Yeah, and it's like, we don't have to watch it if you don't want to. And it's like, no, it's okay. It's like, oh God, we're both suffering right now.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'll sit and finish it and make you feel like shit because you sit there. I'm like, do something else, man. We watch Project Runway. I don't give a shit.
That's the passive-aggressive Minnesota wife that we've all come to know and love.
Yeah.
All right, on to the Preamble Ramble. I went to a little town of Milwaukee. And I met with Eons of Battle, Nick and Jay, and also Sean, Jay's Kill Team Nemesis, and another person was there. And we had a grand old time. We played some Kill Team. I got to see their whole studio. They recently kind of moved into a new place, and they've been renovating it. And the basement was all one large room, and they've kind of sectioned it off into rooms that are good for their production. And there are like cables hanging from the ceiling everywhere.
Oh, man.
It was like I could tell this was a place that was being worked in like constantly and actively. But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun being there with those guys and playing that game.
I just had a revelation.
What was that?
As I want to do.
Yeah, you got a lot of those.
Okay, so we were just talking about movies.
Yes.
You're a fan of Kevin Smith movies?
Yeah, yeah.
Or aware of them?
Yes.
You've seen Clerks?
Yes,
whatever.
I've seen Clerks 1 and 2, but not the third one.
I've not seen the third one either.
Okay.
I'm kind of nervous about that.
Yeah.
So some of the most famous characters, probably the most famous characters in the Kevin Smith universe,
Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yep.
And I just made a fucking connection.
Did you?
It's Jay and Silent Nick.
Jay and Silent. Whoa.
Because Jay's the talky one. He's the outgoing, the super high energy one. Jay is Jay. And Nick is he's the brains. Let's be honest, okay?
Yeah.
Nick has all these profound ideas, or I assume he does. You just kind of look at Nick and you just assume that hamster wheel is turning at high RPM.
He's steering the Eons of Battle ship.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, Nick's up in the old crow's nest. He's fucking shouting that shit from up there. But Nick's down there making sure they're avoiding the rocks, right?
Okay, so for Christmas, Nick, you're going to get a present from TUP. It is a long trench coat jacket and a backwards hat. You have to don it whenever you're on camera.
Yeah, and then Jay has to learn all the words from the song that Jay sings.
Okay.
It's fuck, motherfuck. Noinch, smoking weed, to rolling blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, so you got to learn all those, and you have to perform it at Adepticon next year, Jay. While Nick is in the trench coat doing a little dance behind you.
Smoking a cigarette, yeah.
Yeah. This is the kind of content that Ian's of Battle really needs.
Yeah, next Miles of Memories, I expect this skit to be in there. Go outside of Taco Bell, just filming their drive-through, to fuck the cars. It'll be great.
Well, I'm glad your trip to the Eons of Battle HQ has brought this new revelation in the future of their channel, which is kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing of what this topic is going to be about. It's not about the future of Eons of Battle, but maybe it will.
We should start making episodes about the futures of other people's channels.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like our
they're going downhill. I don't know.
There's like React content. Because that's been going on for like 4+ years now of it being the hottest thing is React content.
Yes.
Maybe we can innovate in the React content we do is like we do a little Mystery Science Theater of watching their videos and then we predict the future.
Okay.
Look at this fucking guy. Look what he's doing. What is he? He's still talking about this?
Yes.
Christ, man, move on.
Move on. That's when we like truly run out of all ideas. Then we just react to other people's content.
You don't need to have any unique ideas.
Yeah. No, honestly, I do think that React kind of content does have some fun value. I watch it, so it's not like it's a bad thing. Maybe, though. Maybe we could have like a little segment, like react to some shorts or some shit like that.
Yeah. Gosh, look at this getting ahead of ourselves already.
Doing business.
Okay.
Anyways, I played a game Kill Team. I played against his new fangled space goats, the beastmen who are now in the 40K universe with the Kill Team faction.
Oh, they're so cool models.
They are freaking cool. I played with my Novitiate Kill Team, and the space goats have this new rule called Frenzy. Everyone in the army has it. When I kill them with shooting especially, which happens a lot in Kill Team, they don't die. They have an opportunity to activate once more. And man, they can
immediately or on their next turn.
On their next activation, whenever he chooses to go with that person.
Oh,
and that a space goat can do a lot in an activation. So it's kind of nice to have like this. Basically, he has this thing that means I will never die to purely shooting. He can die in combat, but not in shooting, and so he can like basically soak everything up. Run in, dive bomb, nuke like one or two sisters, and then die. And he's kind of a horde one as well. So he has like 10 models. So it's like it's hard. It was hard. He basically what I'm saying right now is that
you lost.
I lost, and it wasn't my fault.
Right.
No, it was a good game. Yeah, I lost like 11-5. It was brutal.
Oh, it sounds like attrition goats. There's like you can't outgrind us.
Yeah, it came down to I think he had 2 minis left and I had 2 minis left, but he was making headway every single round with the Veeps.
Oh, he got that Veeps on Veeps action.
He did, so I couldn't keep up. But that's my first Preamble Ramble topic.
I really like that kind of a rule system, especially when it's done kind of uniquely for certain factions. Like in Khorne for Age of Sigmar, they have certain models, and it might even be now either on the scrolls or something. But I know historically there's certain models or certain units that have that ability where if the model was removed in combat, it always happened in melee though. So it's like they don't care where the blood flows as long as the blood is flowing.
Okay.
Right? So if they're killed before you remove the model, it immediately gets to swing with its attack.
Yeah, that's fun. It's fun to be able to do the fun thing with your model.
Yeah.
They basically took that idea and gave it to every single model in Shatterpoint, but not that they get to swing. It's just like you can only take a certain amount of damage per turn, and you can't take any more than that. And so it makes the game just extends the game because it doesn't extend the game. It makes your models stay alive longer so you can play with them and do fun things.
Everyone wants to play with their toys, you know?
I know. I love that. There's less feel bad moments.
All right. So I think I got 2 preamble things.
Okay.
2.5 and mostly not related to miniature painting. But one is
One of them is
immediately after not immediately after recording this episode. So we're gonna record this episode. We're gonna have a working lunch, I think is what we call it. It's where we play you're gonna teach me how to play Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
I bought a deck.
I have 8 decks.
I brought it with. One's all I'm gonna need.
That's fine.
And until I play, and then I get the crack itch,
dude. Yeah, me and some friends already have a limited plan in mind, a limited format plan, which I think that means something in Magic as well.
It does.
Where you buy a bunch of boosters and make decks and shit.
Yeah.
So we have a plan to do that. It's getting fucking dicey, bro.
Have you done any looking to see if there's any like systems or like community agreed upon, or even by the company, their format of how they do limited?
Yes, they have They have two limited versions. One's more casual. One seems to be more competitive. So we're gonna go with the more casual one.
Yeah, and you just dip your toe in the pool. You know.
Yes.
So, yeah. So after we do that, I'm getting in my truck and I'm driving to Sam Lenz's house.
Yes.
And so this weekend is TMX, the Tabletop Minions Expo. So I'm driving over there. Vince is going to be getting off the plane a little bit before I get there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're gonna coordinate at Sam's house. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna grill. Who knows where the night takes us? And then Saturday, Sunday is Tabletop Minions Expo. So Sam, Vince, and I were all teaching a couple of 1-hour classes. I'm looking forward to having some fun with that. Teach some mini painting, hanging out, maybe playing some games, maybe just painting some minis. I brought some more Relic Blade minis along.
Okay.
Because those are the minis that I had built and primed. And I'm like, that's all I need right now.
Yeah.
I did not have extra time to do any more packing than I already had to do. And I don't know. Never been to this. Apparently it's kind of low key. It's kind of more of a, smaller community thing. I think typically it's around 50-ish people that come.
Okay.
I think it might be more this year.
Okay.
Right? Because
I imagine it grows every year.
Yeah, it's been growing every year. I think this is going to be kind of their big kind of come to Jesus post-COVID moment for TMX. I think this is going to be a big one. This would be fun. I didn't realize how close Eons of Battle are, and maybe they'll show up.
Maybe.
I don't know. I should probably message Jay right after this and be like, hey, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Noinch, get up there.
Yeah. I also did not know how close they were to like my original hometown. And so I was able to go there because I visited some friends in southeast Wisconsin for Memorial Day. And I just stayed for an extra day. And with that extra day, I went up to visit them Memorial Day, and so it was. I mentioned I visit Wisconsin like at least 4 times a year, and they're like, whenever you're here, let us know. And I was like, all right. So I have a standing open invitation to the Eons of Battle studio if you ever need to Trojan horse yourself in there.
Yeah, dude. Put me in your backpack.
Yeah, okay.
Pretend you're a hockey player for one day.
Yeah.
Put me in your hockey
These are my pads.
Yeah. I got a goalie after this, so for a little bit. So
why is it like 170 pounds? Why are you struggling so much, Scott?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, so yeah, just get me in the garage. I'll take it from there.
Just plant you in the garage.
You're just in the middle of playing a game, and I just like fall through the drop ceiling, hanging by cables and shit.
Yeah, you got some fucking like goggles on or some shit.
Vision. Yeah. It just drops like a 9mm with silencer on it, and they're like, "What's going on?" Don't worry about it.
You just start blasting people. What the fuck is happening? All right, I played another game of Kill Team against Dan last night. So we got the Kill Team juices flowing in Milwaukee, and then I wanted to, because I kind of had remembered the rules, other than the fucking cover rules in that game, my God, they're confusing. I wanted to play again, and so I played against Dan in his Compendium Space Marines with my novitiates again, and I slapped him around. The Compendium Marines aren't the greatest faction, and he started out really strong, but then the sisters took over, and I ended up winning it. I don't know, maybe like 10 to 7 or something like that. But it was killed him to a man. All of the Marines died.
Oh gosh, that is not how it works in the lore at all.
No, it does not.
It never does.
A bunch of non-Sisters of Battles novitiates punking out a bunch of Space Marines. That does not happen normally.
I do. So I got one of the boxes, the boarding pass box for orcs, which I did the boss Snicker out of. But in that box, there's the full Kill Team, the newer orc ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to build that, paint that, and play Dan, and to do the most anti-lore thing anywhere, where I just have like 8 orcs kill 5 Marines with wrenches and toasters and shit. It's like, I mean, we've read the books, right? That's not what happens.
Have you?
We've read the books. I've read books on Space Marines, yes.
Yeah. It's like one Space Marine kills 3,000 Tyranids or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Like one Space Marine on one drop pod can take over an entire planet of Imperial Guard on a weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a 3-day weekend.
That's their hobby.
Yeah, they just go through and they suddenly it's so hilarious how their bolter gun is described as like it is equivalent to a nuclear missile in the power that it has.
Right, you're like your bullets are grenades.
Yes.
It's Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's he lines up one shot and shoots someone 2 cities over or something.
Yeah, it's a missile.
Kills 7 families along the way, and the bullet just keeps going. It's so fucking dumb. God, those books are dumb.
Yeah, it's what did you call it? Someone called it bolter porn?
It's bolter porn.
Bolter porn, yeah.
That's what they are. And hey, for what that is, they do their job well. And
if you're signing up for it.
And if you enjoy that, and that is just kind of like some popcorn flick kind of entertainment.
You're wrong.
That also, no shade on that. We all like different cool things, and sometimes your cool things are wrong. So, all right. So my last preamble ramble. Scott, do you ever play a little video game called World of Warcraft? Do you ever play this game?
Maybe that game consumed hundreds of hours of my life in high school, and I definitely don't regret it. No, I don't regret it. But yes, I played a fuckload of World of Warcraft.
Okay, well, did you play in vanilla, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, that kind of era?
I hit 60, and then Burning Crusade came out 2 weeks later.
Okay,
so I never experienced the high Warlord grind, but I got in and I played predominantly during Burning Crusade and a little bit during Wrath. But yeah, mostly Burning Crusade.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to be right in the fucking pocket for what I'm about to tell you.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so this is a thing that's kind of been going on. It started off as a real slow thing about 3 years ago, and it's been getting more and more momentum to a point where later this summer, I don't know exactly when, Blizzard is going to be releasing their own servers for this version of Classic World of Warcraft. It is called Hardcore Classic World of Warcraft. As it stands right now, there's a European server and there's a United States server that are on the official WoW Classic server selects. And then there's an add-on. So you buy this, you don't buy it, it's free, this third-party add-on, and it is hardcore mode. Okay. So there are rules. First of all, you cannot use the auction house. You cannot use your mailbox. Okay. You cannot trade with anyone. So all these things are disabled by using the add-on. So there's no cheating allowed. Okay. It's hardcore. One life to live. You die, your character's deleted.
Okay? That idea seems incompatible with the idea of an RPG, but
oh man, that's why there is never more fucking stressy fucking moments in a video game.
What the fuck?
Then when you put in 30 hours into a character and you're like, fuck. You're going to die. You're fucking dead. Okay. All right. So here's the other things. You cannot group with anyone.
What the fuck, dude?
You can't group. You can't get up. You can't get help. You can run around buff people. It's not super hard, hard enforced that way. But you can't go around and basically power level somebody or whatever.
Okay.
You can run every dungeon instance in the game one time.
Okay.
Per character life.
Okay.
So if there's quests in it, if there's whatever, you got to make sure, one, dungeons are fucking deadly in Classic WoW.
Yeah.
You got to make sure your people know their shit.
Yes.
And you got to get all your quests done in one run. And you got to hope that the one blue item or whatever that drops off the thing, the guy drops it and you get the roll or whatever.
This seems like the most miserable experience ever.
Okay. I thought so too.
How you de-incentivize the end game, right? You de-incentivize PvP and PvE because you don't want to lose out on your investment of your character, or you will take as little risk as possible. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, it sounds like that. It does sound like that.
Okay.
So I started a character.
Level 1.
Level 1, Orc Hunter, baby.
Okay, Orc Hunter. Okay.
Yeah, so he died at level 15.
What was that? How many hours of investment? Was that?
Probably,
2, 3, 4?
Yeah, probably about 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
I'll say 5 hours.
Okay.
And my death was my own fucking fault, and I'm dumb. Because I never played a hunter before.
Okay.
I never played. I played, Druid was my main. I started and got, in Classic, I started a Undead Rogue and got him to 60 or whatever, 50, whatever max level was in Classic,
60.
And then joined a raiding guild, and they had like no druids. So doing Molten Core, Nixie and shit, like they had like one druid, max level druid, and didn't play very much. So I'm like, fuck this. I played druid is my main in EverQuest. So I'm like, I'm fucking switching over to Tauren druid, baby.
So you switched after joining this guild and leveled up an entirely new character to 60?
Yeah. This is back in Classic. And then, so I got to 60 in like a week and a half.
God damn, dude.
College no lifer right there.
Yes.
So I know druid, I knew rogue. And then I started, I kind of redid when Classic relaunched, and I did a orc warrior, so I knew a bit of warrior. I've never done a hunter, but hunters are good for, I figured, for hardcore experience, right? You got a pet, right? Pets are badass. You get your safety,
They're
whatever.
Good at kiting.
Good at like you getting fucking training. It was like, oh god, I accidentally pulled 3 mobs. I'm gonna fucking die here. Have the pet attack each one.
There you go.
Pull aggro, get the fuck out.
There you go.
Right? Your pet dies, you can resummon your pet.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a fucking rare spawn elite that spawned near Crossroads or something. One of those pig dudes, those Quillmore, Quill somethings. And I fucking thought I had it, and I did have it. Like I would have killed it, and then I had 3 fucking
I love this story, dude.
Fucking 3 ad respawns right on my fucking face.
Oh,
I fucking hamstrung one, set the pet on all of them, took the fuck off. The mistake I made was I used a healing potion instead of a swiftness potion. I got the fuck out of there, but that thing was a caster, and it just fucking...
You got feigned death yet at 15? Or is that super late?
You don't get to like 30.
Oh, shit. Okay,
Yeah,
that's the get out of jail free card
dude.
with mobs.
Yeah, dude. So I was like, I just sat there and stared at the fucking gray screen when you're sitting in the graveyard, and I'm like, no.
Man.
No.
Okay, so how do you feel now?
Okay. I turned the fucking game off. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, fuck this shit.
Next day. All right. I started up a new fucking hunter, named him Django. We're fucking going. Where am I going? He's level 7 now. Okay. He's doing okay. Okay. Django, he's not yet unchained, but I was shocked that I was willing to do it all over.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn fun because your heart races. And so here's the thing. You're saying you play super safe. Like, you should. There's an unspoken rule in hardcore WoW is dungeon equals death.
Yeah.
And cave equals death.
Okay.
And so you go in a cave, you're gonna be in trouble. Like you just don't know. Here's the X factor of this fucking game that I do not like, and I'm thinking they're gonna still keep it when they put the official server up, but they have this random respawn mechanic, which the amount of people in an area or a zone affects how quickly the mobs respawn. So there's a bunch of level fucking 10 dudes in this area. The mobs will respawn in like a minute. So you really got to be fucking careful because shit will just pop on you. And so that is how you die. That's how I died on that character, was the respawn. I'd cleared them. I cleared all the shit around to get to that dude, and they fucking popped too soon. My internal timer, like I have an MMO internal timer on shit.
Yeah.
I was way off.
Okay, yeah, it was too deep down inside. If you had too many cobwebs on it, you got dusted off from those college no lifer days.
I know. So that was my experience. Unfortunately, that is probably either going to be on hiatus or be done because fucking Diablo 4, baby. Diablo 4's hitting. I did the pre-order to get all the to get the early access.
Wait, did you start playing yesterday?
No, I downloaded the whole game yesterday, but then I had to pack. I didn't finish up my video that's coming out tomorrow as of this recording. I had to get everything done for the whatever, so I had the game all downloaded. But like the 4 days early you get to play. Because I got the bigger dollar amount pre-order,
you're not
fucking gone.
Yeah.
Did not plan that. So
damn. So you're gonna be at TMX, gonna be like, man,
I should have brought my laptop.
Oh, there you go. This big beefy laptop.
Yeah, dude, just bring this big old Asus, just like the fans just going, what? While I'm at a tabletop gaming expo, I'm like, shut the fuck up, guys.
I'm gaming over here,
I'm grinding on my Rogue.
Damn, dude. Honestly, you're making me want to play WoW right now.
Dude, let's do it. When WoW hardcore classic servers come out, let's fucking do it. If there is a thing you can do in this one, and I don't know how they're going to change things. It sounds like Blizzard said they're going to change some things. First thing they're going to do, which I think is fucking gangster as all get out, is you can duel people to the fucking death.
God damn.
They're going to enter it in the game for your own factions. Like, you challenge someone to a duel to the death, the person that dies, the fucking character's deleted. But they do have in this with the add-on, they have a system that's called duo or trio. So if you make your characters at the same time and you pull up the add-on and you click duo at level 1 and you put in their name, say we started a duo characters, okay, you have to be in the same zone. Okay, you can level together, you can share loot, you can do free-for-all loot and all that shit, so you get all that benefits. You have to be online at the same time. So you can't like also level when I'm not there.
Okay.
If one of us dies, we both die.
Fucking A, dude. Okay, so right now it's an add-on, but Blizzard is going to make it an official thing at some point?
Yeah, it's become so popular. Like if you for the past like probably 6 months, maybe not quite that long. If you went to Twitch and you looked at WoW streams, like the top 10 views, the top 10 channels at any given time for the most viewers are all playing classic hardcore.
Okay.
No one's playing retail, none of that shit. Yeah, and there's a ton of like it's become a very popular thing in like YouTube videos. And also the crazy thing is the add-on also like somehow through their own servers or some shit, it records. Okay?
Records what?
It records you playing.
Like video or?
Yes.
Okay.
So what they do with it is they mostly like it sounds like for the most part it's all scrapped or it's got so long of a turnaround of it being scrapped, but they can go that to review to find out if you're doing any cheating or whatever. But more importantly, it saves the like 60 or 30 seconds prior to any character's death.
Fucking dying, yeah.
So then the company that makes this add-on puts out compilations. And you're talking about react videos, dude. Go watch some fucking Asmongold reacts to fucking classic WoW character deaths.
Asmongold is such an interesting creature.
Oh my god.
Like I love his video about how to make steak. Like I love how apathetic he is about the things that don't matter to him, and he's so okay with that. And it's just beautiful to see.
Yeah, you could tell like he's been big for so long to the point where he's just like for his own mental health and everything. He's like, gonna be me.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give a fuck about other things.
Yeah.
What other people think.
Yeah,
and he just like shoots a video in his treehouse in his backyard on his phone.
It's beautiful.
I hated that fucking guy when I first started watching. My buddy turned me on, and I'm like, this fucking guy is so stupid and full of shit. And then I realized it wasn't an act. Like he plays a character, and he knows how to like tweak the dial.
Yeah.
To know the things that are really gonna bother people. And like he'll play it up, and if you kind of watch him, you can just see occasionally like he'll smirk. Like he's got inside jokes that he will never like make public that they were inside jokes. It's just like he rewards you for watching him by like seeing the bullshit he twists people's knobs and whatever. And I get it, he's a polarizing figure. People don't like him or whatever, and I don't love him, but I respect his game. I respect his game. So
let's talk about WoW.
Let's just change this to a WoW.
Okay, I have one WoW story I want to share. Okay, I leveled up a warrior, an undead warrior, but I had a friend who played Alliance, and I wanted to play with him.
He's not a real friend.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Did he play a fucking paladin?
He's dead to me now. You know what? I think
I'm sure he did.
He may have.
He's a twat.
Well, I wanted to play warrior with him, and so I made a gnome warrior. Except that sounded like the dumbest, memeiest thing I could make.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I was like, I've already done this. I don't need to do this again. And so I paid someone else to level it up to 70 for me.
Oh my god.
That's probably the scummiest video game thing I've ever done. Paid someone else to log into my WoW account to level up my gnome to 70 so I could just play with my friend. But yeah, I did that.
Yeah, probably a good use of money when you're thinking about how much you probably paid this guy in China $1 an hour.
Yeah. I wish I could remember how much it cost, but it was not a significant amount because I could afford it in like high school. Yeah, with my shoe salesman salary,
$25,
something like that. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah,
should we move on to miniature painting?
I guess we could talk about what we painted now.
Let's talk. You got some motherfucking blueberries over here.
Yeah, dude, I got some.
You're painting Ultramarines? What's wrong with you?
These are the new Terminators. that just came out in the Leviathan box.
Ooh, very termy.
And I was like, oh, when I first saw them and I first kind of looked at them, I'm like, they're not that much different from a Primaris because they're Primaris-sized. But when you put a Primaris dude next to them, they fucking dwarf them. Those guys are like machines.
They're big boys.
They are big. So this was a video where it was the open-ended question. How fast can I paint a squad of Warhammer models? And so it was a speed paint that I didn't set a time limit for myself, but I just painted as fast as I could. To see to a level that I felt I was going to feel, I don't want to say proud of, but not ashamed of, right? When they're done, I'd say I speed painted these, but they're not just kind of like, ugh, yucky, right?
Bro, these are so far from yucky.
Yeah. Okay, there's one key step that makes all the fucking difference of why those look good. And if you're a member of the Patreon, you'll get that in the extended episode of this podcast. I'm going to talk about the thing that
a patron of the podcast or of your patron?
This Patreon right here, Trapped Under Plastic. In the extended version of the podcast, we talk about, one of the things we talk about is something new we've tried. And the thing that I did with these, with an airbrush, made all the difference. I'm going to give you a little hint. Scott. White ink. But not at the beginning. Not a zenithal. There's a step with white ink.
White ink the god.
Yes.
Okay.
You probably could look at them and maybe figure it out now, but maybe not.
I'm not gonna lie. I've already read the podcast document. And
Damn
I know
it!
What the
So
secret,
you know the secret is.
These look fantastic. I mean, you could have done a lot less, and I think these would still look really good.
You can certainly see where I phoned it in, like all the silvers.
Yeah, but whatever. That
you don't see that shit for the first, 30 seconds you look at them.
Yeah, I mean,
you're looking at the armor and you're looking at the helmets, right?
That is it. Yeah, that is absolutely it.
There's a lot of shit that's not painted or different colors than the blue.
All the gobbledygook.
Yeah, but the thing is,
all the pipes and shit
on all the box art. So I looked at the box art and all the shit in the assembly guides and everything painted in ultramarine colors. That shit is blue on theirs.
You didn't paint the knee joint rubber things black?
Oh, I did not.
How could you?
I actually kind of think realized I forgot that step.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It does not matter.
I looked them all over as I'm painting them and the clock's running and I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? And I never saw that shit. These guys don't have as much rubbery, knee pad behind the knee shit as the regular Ultramarines do, or regular Space Marines do.
They don't, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about
that base.
Finding the time to where you're going to sink your hours in.
For sure.
And so doing a little bit of a sponge chipping, a little bit when I do that before I do edge highlighting, so I can quickly kind of hit a couple of those spots too. So 5 hours and 16 minutes was what it took me to paint that unit. And that's not a super speedy time, but it's also, they're 5 pretty chonky boys.
They're big, yeah.
And they're so much fucking edges to edge highlight.
Yeah.
So many edges. So of those 5 hours and 16 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes of it was edge highlighting.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I felt like I was rushing a lot of that too. And there's actually there's some edges that are like corners and shit that there's a second layer of edge highlighting for a little bit more of a pop to that. But that was the majority of it, doing that. It took me about 30 minutes to paint the whole bases too, which, I probably could have cut a step or two off of that. But, not knowing how long each thing was going to take and just kind of going into it, having fun, painting something quick. And then I put the other thing that was a little bit higher effort, obviously, is the white. So the white helmets, and then that dude's the captain's red helmet. So.
That's cool. I'm going to join you in painting a 40K squad here. I have a buddy who wants to play, what is it called? Combat Patrol? Like the small version of 40K?
Yeah, it's just a box. You buy a box, you paint the shit in the box.
Yeah. And I want to paint a 40K squad because inspiration has struck.
Yeah.
And I have the coolest scheme, at least to me, in my mind, for Dark Eldar. I don't want to go too in depth to it because we have a podcast topic about it. But I'm very inspired right now to paint a 40K squad, and so I want to give it a shot. And obviously, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah.
And I think an hour and an hour and a bit of change per model is like the fucking sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like my skeletons, who are significantly smaller than these guys, took like 45 minutes a mini, and I think that for me allows me to get like the effect that I'm going for.
I think the key to it, and these guys lend themselves to it really well, is your primary color, you need to have something that's going to take up at least 40% of the model. Ideally, these guys, this is like fucking like 85% of the model, is that you need to maximize use of the airbrush. Because I'm not a precision airbrush kind of a guy, but being able to have that really good looking and cover a large amount of your square footage of your model with that airbrush, it just feels like you got an early start.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's at the starting block and you start running before the pistol sounds.
Yeah, your Necrons, your Taus, your Space Marines, all these models with kind of a mono color very fast. And then like
I think even with the Dark Eldar, because all their armor shit, like you can do a lot of that really cool thing to just do the armor, and then you're bringing out the brush. Like for me, once I brought out the brush, I never went back to the airbrush, and that's mostly just kind of be from an efficiency standpoint, but I don't think that's like hard and fast. You don't go back to it, but I just found like it was a really good mental feeling of like, okay, this tool is down. Now my next tool, I'm going to crank these out to the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was something about it made me feel really good. Like, oh, you checked a big box off and now you don't have to go back to that and worry about like cleaning it again and then remixing shit and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
What did you paint, Scotty?
I painted Bangalore, a character from Apex Legends, a video game that's in the Battle Royale genre, and my favorite one in the Battle Royale genre. Because it's super fast-paced. It's first-person. PUBG and Fortnite are both third-person, and I love a first-person shooter. It's my favorite kind of video game. And it's just so fast and snappy. It reminds me so much of Crysis, and I love playing Crysis. And Bangalore, of all the characters that are out, I haven't tried a lot of the new ones, if I'm being totally honest. But my favorite is Bangalore. And the company that made the board game for Apex Legends, Glass Cannon Unplugged, wanted to run a couple of ads on my channel, and one of them involved painting a mini that I agreed to as long as they gave me the STL so I could print them for myself, because I was able to get a little bit of a higher quality model than the ones they sent me, or the board game ones.
Yeah.
And so they did that for me. I was super appreciative of that. And then I made a little diorama that kind of reminded me of the world of Apex Legends and Skulltown and all those locations that I love from the map. And you mentioned something about where I had fun in this model.
Yeah, I can tell where you had fun.
Yeah, the base building.
Yeah.
So there was this YouTuber. So when Alex was over, Swedish Alex from 52 Miniatures, he showed me this channel that I can't remember the name of, but I will link it down in the description below. But this channel made a diorama of, who's the guy in, I can't remember his name. Who's the guy in Patriot?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. He made a diorama of Mel Gibson getting pulled over in Malibu. So he's like, it's drunk Mel Gibson, a cop car, and then a diorama. It's the goofiest thing to make a fucking diorama out of. But the point of the video is,
I know what that channel is too. I can't think of the name of it.
It's something Fingers, Bobby Fingers.
Yeah,
is that what it is? Okay.
Guy does a lot of sculpting.
He does, so, yeah. But he does a lot of everything. He shows you
Steven Seagal one. Have you seen the Steven Seagal one?
Yes, I saw that one and the Mel Gibson one. But they're amazing videos because he goes through just so much. He sculpts a 1-to-1 replica of a face of Steven Seagal. He'll 3D scan it, scale it down, fix it in ZBrush, print it out, paint it, make the diorama, scratch build the cop car. He does all of these things. The point of the video is just to expose you to all this awesome tooling and skill. And so I was like, I'm going to do a very small version of that. And I'm going to start with what I think is the most interesting thing to an average person, which is the everything that's not miniature painting.
Yes.
So in the video, miniature painting is the last section in the video, and I do some custom sculpting, I do some 3D supporting, 3D printing, I do some scratch building with the base, I use my vinyl cutter. I try to use as many tools as possible just to make the video more engaging, but also because I love making tiny little dioramas.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
It's such a good encapsulated scene on such a small base.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do that in a way that doesn't feel cluttered, and I often feel nervous about adding the level of stuff you have on here because I feel it will be cluttered, and you do it in a way that it doesn't at all. It doesn't feel claustrophobic.
Thank you.
To the model. The only thing I was thinking that would make this better is if you had another character that was laying dead, and you just see the top half of them on here,
yeah,
and then you repose her so she's mid teabag. You gotta fucking teabag your kills.
Yeah, dude. Actually, regarding teabagging, one thing I love about Apex Legends is there are finishers in that game. So like most battle royales, you can knock someone, but they don't fully die because their teammates can revive them. So if someone is knocked,
slowly crawling.
Yeah, if someone's knocked and crawling around, you can walk up to them and you can use a finisher. And you can pay for different kinds of finishers, but they're basically a form of disrespect. And so you walk up and Bangalore's finishers. Take your smoke launcher, which is non-lethal, but she'll launch a smoke grenade right at your fucking face, and it bounces off of you, and she grabs it and puts it back in the smoke launcher and walks off. It's so fucking badass.
Just donks you on the dome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's fucking great.
But yeah, it was so much fun to make that little diorama. I love doing things like that. But despite all my video editing tricks to make the video more appealing to the average viewer, the video totally tanked. It is a very terribly performing video, which is I can't figure it out. Whenever I do a video game related model, it always does shit. I don't know what it is, because it's the same thing as all my other videos. I'm painting a miniature, but they just seem to not do very well. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know if I know the answer. If I had to put some kind of guesstimate, I think it's probably too far removed from the newer audience, right? So the audience you're trying to reach in the more video game side, it's probably too far removed from their interests or it wouldn't come up on their algorithm to even see that it exists, unless you got enough traction with your core audience. Why it doesn't do as well with the core audience is it's the only thing I can think of there is enough of them feel oh, this isn't a video for me, it's for video game people.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, and I kind of thought about that, and so I titled it "Making a Miniature Sci-Fi Diorama," and I was like, okay, because if you're an average person and you see this thumbnail of this model and you don't know about Apex Legends, you're not going to know that it's a video game necessarily. But I do talk about it in the very beginning of the video. So maybe that kind of turns people off and they just close the video, and that affects the stats and then obviously what the CTR of the video is. I don't know. But I fucking love doing it. I love video games, and so I'm going to keep doing it until I figure it out what the code is.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one way to
see the wrenches on the pole.
Yeah, I did see them little blue-gray wrenches.
I love them wrenches.
Here's one thing you could do. Let's dig deep in the old clickbaity YouTube algorithm.
We're digging deep.
What if you titled it something like? Well, one, I think you probably want a picture of maybe a close-up of Head and Shoulders of Bangarang, which is what every time you say Bangarang, I think of Hook starring Dustin Hoffman.
Calm down, Rufio.
I think of Bangarang. So you have Bangarang from the video game Head and Shoulders on the thumbnail on one side, and the other side you have that and maybe a little arrow or something, right? You want the instant visual recognition from the video game people.
Yeah.
And then you have showing this. And then the title is something like I turned Apex Legend into a real miniatures game or something like that, right? So you're showing, you're keeping it open-ended enough to what you're actually doing, because the product for you is a really high-quality video that was very fun to watch, for me anyway.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that video. You have the product. You can stand behind that. you just want them to get in the front door, and then you know they're going to enjoy it. So how do you open the door wide enough where enough people want to come in? And that's where it's like, well, you got to try to find a weird way that like they go, ooh, what? Yeah. And so I think something like that I don't know. Try something like that next time.
Yeah. Or I can change the thumbnail now. I will say the only time that a video game video has done well for me, which I believe is like over 150K views, is the video that I made about Heroes of New Earth. And I think it did so well because the title and thumbnail was a banger, because I literally paid $2,200 for that model, and that's what the title and thumbnail is. It's like, why did I pay this much money for a miniature? But the weird thing is the entire VO in that video is all about video games and Han. I don't talk a single bit about miniature painting.
Oh.
Now I mentioned that at the very end, but I don't talk at all about technique, about nothing. I just show the footage and then talk about MOBAs and Han and what video games mean to me. And I thought for sure that video would bomb because I don't talk about painting at all. But apparently it was interesting enough to at least get that kind of viewership, which was interesting to me.
What we've learned here is the actual content of your video means fucking nothing. You mentioned the dollar amount thing, because that's so fucking crazy. Maybe we're just a little bit more in the weeds than our average TUP viewer, or maybe you out there are probably prime consumers of YouTube content. But putting a dollar figure in the title of a video, it just like moths to a fucking flame.
Yeah,
people just watch that shit. And I did it. I think I did it one time when I did my kit bash. My Chaos Kit Bash thing.
And that video
and it wasn't even that was like my first big video.
Yeah.
Like the first video that really took off for me. And it wasn't even a big dollar amount. It was like I used $200 in Warhammer to make a custom Chaos model or something like that was the title of it.
Right.
It was $200.
Right.
It wasn't even like this. We're not talking Mr. Beast money.
Yeah.
We're not talking about.
Okay, you're relating it to Mr. Beast. Now I see where you're coming from. Yeah, definitely.
That is like the right. That is the tidal wave that everyone's trying to catch a wave off.
Sure. Yeah.
It becomes like a part of the culture of YouTube. And it's the same thing with like the Fiverr shit. When that was popular, there's these waves, and then they just kind of like spread to universal success in the different niches. And the dollar amount one, I think it probably still holds up. I actually am planning a video about that actually I got the idea from people posting in the TUP Facebook group.
Nice.
Where maybe I'll just put it out in the universe now, because I commented on that post where people are showing this crazy shit from Micromark. And so in the post, I'm like, if you guys have any weird shit from Micromark,
dude,
you
so
want to
much
get
weird shit.
I'm like, make a list here. I will buy it all, so you don't have to, and I'll fuck with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, there's a video. I spent $2,000 at Micromark for stupid hobby shit. Let's see if it works. Boom. I don't even know what the video's about or whatever, but I know that's gonna do well.
Did you buy a tiny table saw?
I haven't bought anything yet.
Okay.
It just came up this week.
There is so much shit in that magazine. It is amazing.
Dude, the catalyst for it was a little camera that connects to your fucking paintbrush that magnifies the fucking model face or model, and then you can have it through your play on your fucking cell phone.
Seriously?
See the magnify? I will get that. It is going to be fucking garbage, and I can't wait. I'm here for it.
That could be your thumbnail. Just like a fucking brush with a goddamn scope on it.
Oh, yeah. Fucking sniper painter.
That is amazing. That's a great idea for a video. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, so I put that out in the universe now, not having bought the shit yet, so if someone else beats me to it, I'm going to track them down and hang them by their toes upside down.
I'm on top of this shit. I'm going to bust out that catalog right after this episode. Leaf through it. All right, that's what we painted. But what did you guys paint? Let us know in the Facebook TUP group, which you can find linked in the show notes and description below. We have a wonderful community there that shares tendies and equal part miniature painting. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy seeing your posts. I browse it every now and then because Facebook has like you can either be logged into your page, like my Miniac page, or my normal Facebook, and when I'm logged into my Miniac page, my feed is entirely TUP Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
And so whenever I see that, I then go on this tangent of walking through all the posts and like reading them all and seeing them. So it's a lot of fun.
Kind of crazy stuff. Speaking of attendees, another this is a post Preamble Ramble thing.
Yeah.
Last night, my daughter won a award at school, so she got a free kids meal from Texas Roadhouse. You ever been to Texas Roadhouse?
Absolutely.
Dude, I forgot how much. I don't want to talk shit about Texas Roadhouse. But it's so fucking white trash in there. It's not even like I'm
was
just
the
kind
steak good though?
It was mediocre at best.
Yeah, okay.
So we go there, and
Was it better than English steak though?
Yes. Dude. Fucking Asmongold steak's better than English steak. So we go there, and I'm just immediately like assaulted with like all of my senses are assaulted with the, it's like this is anyway. It was now the service was great. You know what I fucking love when you go to a restaurant and you're just having your meal, you're having a good time. And the fucking server comes around and just comes over and like, boop, they just bring you a brand new drink. Never asked for it. They got the fucking eagle-eyed. They see you're getting low.
Yeah.
And they just come back and they give you one. I'm like, it's so sad how much that I appreciate that because it's so fucking rare these days. And I was just like, God damn, bless you.
It's so rare these days. Back in my day, servers would bring you Mountain Dew like fucking that.
Yeah, you go to a Chili's. Woo, doggy.
Woo!
Yeah.
TGI Fridays, motherfuckers.
Yes.
They're on it.
Yeah. So we go there, and my daughter orders the macaroni and cheese, and immediately my spider senses tingle because I know my daughter's a little bit of a mac and cheese connoisseur, and she has she's got a high bar.
She's gonna learn a valuable lesson.
Yeah. She's like, I'm like, there's a real good chance here that she is gonna not like the mac and cheese. It's not gonna be up to snuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So what does Dad do? Dad orders the combo steak and tendies.
Okay.
Because I know when she inevitably doesn't like the mac and cheese, she's going to eat my tendies.
Dad's out here. Listen up.
There you go.
This is the tech you need to have.
Yeah. So I get that. Steak, mediocre sirloin. Tendies, solid motherfucking tendies.
Okay.
At Texas Roadhouse.
All right.
They're called chicken critters.
Okay.
Par for the course for the white trash,
Yeah.
Chicken critters. Order the chicken critters.
They're good.
That's all I'm going to say.
You had some?
I had one. She had the other 4.
Okay. Wait, you got a steak and 5 tendies?
Yeah, dude. They don't mess around. Damn. It was like a 4 or 6 ounce steak. So it wasn't that much, which is fine. I didn't need to eat that much. I had my little side salad.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
So note to self, chicken critters at Texas Roadhouse.
They fuck.
Yeah.
Not bad.
They fuck. It's great. It was great. So better than Cane's.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were better than Cane's.
Whoa.
Yeah, the breading was superb.
Okay.
Superb. Nice crisp, a little bit of spice on there, but nice crisp amount of it too.
Not overcooked.
Not overcooked. Yeah, juicy. Honey mustard, spot on. No cane sauce. It's the only downside.
Yeah, that's literally the best thing at Cane's is the sauce.
I guess they could make their own, just call it like critter sauce or some shit.
There you go.
Armadillo sauce. I'm trying to think of what else Texas related.
Yeah.
The 6-shooter sauce.
There you go,
Dude. Are
you guys listening, Texas Roadhouse? These are solid gold ideas.
Yeah. So Texas Roadhouse, them buns with the cinnamon butter, solid.
Do they do the bloomin' onion, or is that the other steakhouse thing?
That is Outback Steakhouse. But
Okay,
they have their exact copy, and it's called a fuck. It's called I don't know if it's just like pile driver pedals or some shit.
We're gonna stop.
They have one. They have one too, and the guy asked for it right a fucking way too.
Yeah.
Just like he's out of the office space. He's like, "Can I help you guys? You want a bloomin' onion or some jalapeno poppers?"
Yeah. Just trying to do a little upsell right there.
Yeah, upsell, dude. Also, god damn it, this is Texas Roadhouse podcast. Also, they got speaking of fucking upsell, they got fucking toppers, right? So you can spend like another $2 to get a topper on fucking anything. There.
What's a topper?
Right? So it's like, I order my shit with steak. It's like, oh, do you want to have a garlic and crispy onion topper? Do you want to have mushroom and cream sauce topper? Do you want to have, there's like 17 toppers.
Can I get this on anything? Can I get a mushroom topper on my tendies? On my critters?
I did not ask, but I'm sure they do it.
Okay.
They would oblige. And also they have toppers for baked potato. They got toppers for, so my wife got a sweet potato, and their option for the topper, this is like obesity 101, okay? You order the sweet potato, baked sweet potato, because my wife likes to eat healthy. And the dude ass doesn't fucking blink, doesn't have a bit of regret in his tone of voice. And he goes, do you want the toasted marshmallow and caramel topper?
Oh, my God.
And my wife, she just kind of looks with like this blank stare in her eye as she's like processing what was just said to her.
It's called a sweet potato. Come on.
And she's like, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, they got the everything toppers on whatever. It was just like, that's the next level upsell right there.
That is.
$2 a pop, just fucking top.
Dang, dude. I wonder if Toppers is getting in touch with them to be like, hey, you need a new name for that.
Right, yeah, quit topping. That's our name, that's our thing.
That's our thing.
Right? So anyway,
I have a childhood story briefly to tell. So,
about Texas Roadhouse?
But similar. So like your daughter is a mac and cheese connoisseur.
Yeah.
I was also a 10-year-old steak connoisseur.
Mm.
And it didn't matter where the fuck I went. Olive Garden, motherfucking Texas Roadhouse, motherfucking Taco Bell.
Crapplebee's, baby?
If you made a 6-ounce steak, I was buying it.
Yeah,
and then eventually I was like, you know what? Steaks from Olive Garden kind of suck ass.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then I learned a very valuable lesson. You should just buy what the restaurant does, what its main thing is. You know, if you go to Olive Garden, just get a fucking pasta, get salad. You know, Go to Taco Bell, get a quesadilla. Don't buy a steak at Taco Bell. You can't. I'm making a joke.
You get a volcano taco.
Yeah, exactly.
You get that cheesy gordita crunch.
You get that Doritos hard shell.
Dude.
Like, dude, that's a match made in heaven, bro.
Doritos.
Nacho fries. Whoa.
Doritos Locos up in here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So that was my lesson as a child.
Getting a steak everywhere.
Doesn't work.
No. Here's the other thing with steak. You can, with very little culinary understanding, you can cook a steak as good as any restaurant that you go to. The key that you need is the quality of the steak.
Yeah.
And that's the shitty thing, right? Is that it's like, I spent $30 for a fucking ribeye, bone-in ribeye here. Mm-hmm. Or I could go to fucking Costco and get a 4-pack of ribeyes for $25, and I can cook them at home, get it just scorching hot over a cast iron skillet, and I can fucking do it as well.
This is now a cooking podcast.
Yeah, this is
How to Cook Steaks 101 with John. Here we go.
Next, we're gonna go next level. We're gonna talk about trade skill cooking in Classic World of Warcraft.
You can do that,
dude. Yeah. Oh, dude, you didn't know cooking? Cooking is a big fucking thing in hardcore because you get them stat meals.
Oh,
yeah, dude. Yeah, before my fucking guy, I was making Strider stew off of those emu looking motherfuckers.
Okay.
In the Barrens.
Okay.
You make Strider stew at low level, baby, and that was like +4 stam, +4 strength for 15 minutes. Food, baby.
4 stam, 4 strength leather belt.
Oh, baby.
you gave it to me, man. You set the fucking stat line.
Oh, man. I just fucking lobbed it over the plate.
You did.
You just had to crush it. Okay.
All right. Well, okay. Aside from Texas Roadhouse, How to Make the Perfect Steak, and also World of Warcraft, let's get out of the main topic here. And just to ease your mind here, I know we're crying in the thumbnail, but TUP's not going anywhere, at least yet. But let's start with TUP. What's the future of TUP, John? You can just decide right now for us both.
Okay, we're just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
I think TUP is at an interesting place. When we look at like what we like to do, and the people that like it, we get new people all the time, but it's kind of a trickle thing. I don't think that TUP is on a similar trajectory as something like how you look at a standard YouTube channel. Because podcasts, they don't seem to have these giant spikes once you've established who your audience is. And we're not a podcast that's ever going to get 1 million listeners because we're talking about really niche shit.
Yeah.
So for us, I kind of feel like whether we've talked about it or not, which we kind of haven't, like we don't sit and brainstorm on ways to break through bigger with TUP.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just really happy with that. I don't know about you.
There's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
You could have a growth strategist hired for every social media platform that you are on that knows how to do outreach, that knows how to find new people, right? But we try to use our time and creative energy on our YouTube channels trying to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I could think about like my Twitch channel and be like, okay, how do I find new viewers? How do I add segments to my stream? How do I make it more engaging? But it's like it's just so much easier just to turn the fucking thing on and just play a game and just not worry about that. So yeah. I totally agree with you. TUP's the same way. We have a formula. We're able to do it and still be able to do everything else that we want to do. And maybe at some point in the future, we'll be able to like think about more outreach and stuff like that. But for now, what we're doing is working how we like it, and so we're going to kind of keep it that way.
Right. I think there's a couple of things that we've talked about, and we'd like to continue to improve on. And again, it often just comes back to time thing. One, we have Writer Goblin Alex, and to bring more on his plate as he is comfortable with, as he has got capacity, and as we can put in the time to help define that and set that up for success.
Yeah.
So that includes us having certain topics, certain episodes that require a little bit more research, require a little bit more back-end work, as well as getting more outreach and in sponsorships too. That's a big thing where it's like, to advertise on TUP, we keep the cost relatively minimal because we want it affordable for small and mid-sized companies in the gaming sphere. And so we want to help them thrive, and we want to make a little money off those as we can find the right fits. But oftentimes that falls by the wayside for us to be able to find time to reach out to those folks. Oftentimes they reach out to us for our own YouTube channel. Sometimes it's for TUP specifically, to talk about, how we can work together. So, maximizing Alex in a way that it still fits for his schedule, and finding ways where we can improve the podcast by bringing in, the advertising as well, which then opens up other doors for us as well, because it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. If we don't put in more time, we're not going to get more of those kinds of returns. And if we don't get those kinds of returns, we often feel like, well, the amount of time we spend is about the time that we can commit to. Yeah. So that's a tough thing.
It is. So yeah, I think if we're going to see any changes to TUP, it's going to be invisible stuff to you guys. It's going to be in like pipelines and processes. Like, for instance, it takes a lot of energy to manage sponsorships and also in companies, especially in our space. A lot of them are not used to the process. And so having to coerce talking points out of them, assets out of them, the kind of assets you want out of them, like, it's tough. So it's like you need to have like a pipeline. And so like whenever we have a person that's like, yes, I want to pay money for an ad in TUP, it's like immediately they should be sent to Writer Goblin James, and he will get talking points out of them, and also Editor Alex, and he will get assets out of them, and also sent to Amber, and she will invoice them. And that's like, it's not how it works currently. At the moment, I have to like yell and scream at these people to give us shit. And we get like, sometimes we get like talking points like the day before we are recording.
Yeah.
Even though we ask like 2 weeks prior. And so having some kind of like verbiage in our contract where it's like, we need this by this point. If you don't, I'm keeping half your deposit. Like some kind of thing like that. So a lot of just like trimming and making more efficient the process about how we interact with people, which then will take less time and cause less stress on our end, which then opens bandwidth to make improvements to other things that are, kind of our YouTube channel, our podcast, stuff that we have going on.
Yeah. I realized that I said Writer Goblin Alex instead of Writer Goblin James.
Oh, no, I thought you said James.
I feel like I did say Alex, but either way, I apologize to both of you because I wouldn't want either of you to feel like I was talking about the other one. Because you're both gross. I'm just kidding.
You're both goblins.
They're both goblins, and wonderful goblins at that. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to it in you, the listener's day-to-day job, you have administrative shit at your job that you like procrastinate on or you do not like to do, but someone eventually like makes you do it, or you have to are accountable for it at some point. We have the problem is we don't have someone that holds us accountable for it.
Yeah.
And so those kinds of like stuff you don't like to do in your job often are the things that fall by the wayside. But in terms of the actual podcast itself, we've talked about like different sub-segments. We've talked about doing more things with like mini reviews or mini critiques, because we have those from our Patreon members, which is great. And we have a big backlog and trying to find a way where we can more actively go through those. So that might be a thing. Talking about, when we talked about the Ramble-sode and maybe doing more of those of we have fun doing this, but also I think both of us like to have enough of a change or an evolution so things don't get stagnant.
Yeah.
So this podcast will continue to slowly evolve. So if you listen episode by episode, it'll kind of be like a frog in boiling water. You won't necessarily know, but if you listened to like our season 1 and then you listen now, I actually haven't done this myself, but I'm guessing I would notice a big difference.
You want to know what the biggest difference is?
More Preamble Ramble.
Runtime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We used to come in at a cool hour and 15, and now we're like averaging like an hour and 52 hours each episode.
Yes,
like before extended edition.
That's the problem is like we just add more shit.
Yeah.
There's a level of culling that is healthy.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the biggest at least in the United States of America, the biggest help that we have to wildlife populations and to keep them healthy and to keep them thriving in our communities comes through hunting.
Here comes Hunter John.
Because you keep the amount, like the DNR does a great job of the amount of tags, the amount you can harvest, what you can hunt, what you can't hunt, all those kinds of things to make sure that those populations thrive and they're not killed off by disease or they're not taking over an entire environment. And so, it's like fucking snakes in Florida. That now you can go hunt snakes in Florida, and anyone that wants to hunt snakes, he will get you to hunt snakes because they're taking over the environment.
You get a little bounty too when you kill them.
You get that gator bounty up in here. Yeah, the gator and boa constrictors. God damn, those fuckers are huge. Dangerous snakes.
Boas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking 18-foot snakes in the fucking swamps, dude.
No, thank you.
That's like a horror movie. That's like a Resident Evil 6 up in that shit.
That is not where I'm going anytime soon.
You're just out in a little flat-bottom boat with a big old spotlight looking for snakes, bro?
No, thank you.
Yeah, that is not my idea of a good time.
No.
I don't know about you, but some people really enjoy it. I love if you're good at your job, dude. If you're like fucking Wolverine of fucking snake hunting.
That's the first person that comes to mind as someone who's good at their job.
Yeah. Well,
what is Wolverine's job?
That's his line.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but it's all through the comic books. It's like, I have a job and I do it well, or something like that.
Okay.
And for him, it's just fucking murdering.
yeah, it's just murder.
But if you're Florida man, it's killing snakes.
Killing snakes and gators.
Killing them gators. Get himself. You got crawfish boil. You ever had crawfish boil before?
I don't know if it was ever explicitly crawfish boil, but I probably had something similar to it.
I think we should have a crawfish boil sometime.
All right.
I'm guessing there's
lunch.
I'm guessing there's some Cajun taters out there that listen. That's just what I call tuppers.
You call them taters?
Cajun taters. I'm sure we could find a crawfish boil. That's the other thing we could do with TUP. See, I'm bringing it back around. The other thing we do with TUP is TUP Lives, baby. We love the TUP Lives. I'm not saying we want to do like a TUP Live, like 10 of them a year. I'm saying like if we're somewhere,
Yeah.
And we're at a place where a lot of taters are congregated. A tater congregation, as it were.
as it's known.
We could do TUP Lives.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun thing. I think we have a lot of fun. Sometimes I have too much fun. And we can do that because we want to to be where you are, and if we're all there together, shit, we might as well hang out. And if we're gonna hang out, we might as well record it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's not super challenging to do one of those episodes, and it's a lot of fun to have the community interaction during the episode. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I think is difficult that we have learned has to do with scalability, with the size of it. Because once you get to like so many people, like we were at the Verge last year at Adepticon, where it's like how many people that are there. Well, now we got to deal with sound systems. Now we have to deal with the biggest things, logistics with rooms, those kinds of things, which is a good problem to have. It's like, we're not complaining, but that is something that we'll, I think, continue to work on, make a priority that at the bare minimum, as long as they'll have us, and they better fucking have us, we'll be at Adepticon every year for TUP Live. But, maybe one year we do Gen Con, or one year we do
Gen Con be nuts.
We go to fucking CanCon in Australia.
CanCon. Oh, yeah. I thought you were mispronouncing CoolieCon, but yeah, CanCon is in Australia, I believe. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think it'd be interesting to put a poll out on, because you mentioned how like culling is a healthy thing to do. It'd be cool to put a poll out and ask all of the goody PPs what their favorite segment or their least favorite segment of the podcast is, and then remove that segment and replace it with a different one for like an episode.
Yeah.
Just to see if like a new kind of thing was interesting or if it was better than a previous one, just to get a little bit of a change. I would love to hear some thoughts about unique segments or even just changes in general to the podcast that you think we could do to make it better. We always kind of go through all those. We're not able to really like a very common line of feedback is just to make more episodes, like go like to weekly, and that isn't really in the cards at the moment. And I'm not sure when it will be. But like if we could replace a segment that's not very popular with a new one to try out, I would definitely be willing to do that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, logistics of that of weekly, and we had talked about it. We had thought about it. We had we're like trying to figure out how the way to do that.
I mean, I can tell you how the way to do it. Make the episode shorter, film 2 when you come over.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't know if that's. Yeah, I mean that's a possibility.
That will, from a YouTube perspective, and also from a social media perspective, would be better for our channel. Just like more episodes, more relevancy, more viewership. But they'll be shorter. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think that's wrong. I think that we'd have to sit down and kind of roadmap what that looked like.
Yeah.
One thing that I was thinking about, and so you guys know that, like, you can tell how little we actually sit down. When we sit down and talk and the camera's not rolling, we're whatever other random fun stuff, or we're going to talk about flesh and blood and whatever.
Yeah, we're talking about bullshit, yeah.
So unless we're on, like, a road trip or something, we rarely get to, like, we rarely make a priority to talk about, like, strategy shit. But, like, what if there's a couple of birds in one stone here. If we found a thing that we could cut from an average episode, what if we added one patron mini critique during the regular episode and still had the one patron mini critique in the after party?
Sure.
So people got a little taste of what it was like. Mm-hmm. Maybe more people would want to submit their minis for critique, and then they would join the Patreon. Yeah. We get through our backlog of them twice as fast.
Yes, literally, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's something. I don't know if, we try to keep it audio friendly of what we're looking at and why we critique it the way we do and where to improve, what things went well. So even if you're listening to this while you're exercising or driving or whatever, you can still appreciate that. But there's a thing. I don't know, goody PPs, if that's the kind of thing you'd like to hear part of that during the regular episode.
Sure.
That's what all the PPs say right now.
Yeah. That's just Tater Vince over there. So there's that. Yeah, but maybe we should do that poll. We can do a favorite part, and then if one section of the podcast were to go, which one would you be most okay with leaving?
I mean, what's your theory on what the one is the least interesting?
I don't even fucking know.
I mean, it's the main topic. It's like, can you remove that?
Can you all just not talk about that? I mean, maybe there's another option there too. What if we did weekly, and one of the episodes was just all fucking preamble and all the other bullshit, and the other episode was just a main topic.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be that.
Yeah, that could be an idea. In some ways, it feels a little cheesy to do that because you're kind of just separating what we already give them that's in one package and 2 packages. I know for a fact there would be more content. So if you were to add both things together, the equivalent episode would be longer than the singular episode, but it would feel a little bit like we are repurposing content. But because I think there would actually be more content when you sum it up, I wouldn't feel too bad about it. But there may be that perception that, oh, you guys are doing the same amount of shit you always do, but you just divided it into 2 episodes. Which, is that a bad thing? No. I'm kind of having a little conversation with myself right now.
Yeah. You're weighing the pros and cons with yourself, which is good. We can
do that off camera though,
because the big thing is just the sheer amount of hours we have available to do this in a given month. Yeah, and me coming up for a whole nother. Coming up once a week.
No way. I wouldn't want you to do that.
No, this takes up basically a full work day for me. Yes. It's an hour and 20 drive each way and all this kind of stuff. And so I love doing it. It's a really positive thing for me in my every other Friday routine.
Yes.
I would be very worried that would change.
It'd be a bad thing for you. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
The stress, the amount of stress, and all the other stuff would then need to get squished together. I'm already struggling to even figure out break the matrix on how I would stream for my own channel, let alone finding time for this. So
yeah, that's totally fair.
So. I mean, all right, maybe that's it too. Let's put it in the YouTube comments below if you're watching us on YouTube, or start the conversation or reach out to the conversation as it will. Hopefully someone will start one on the Facebook page. Your thoughts on TUP staying as is every other Monday, or a shorter, maybe separated version of TUP that would be every week. Do you have any preference? And if it was, you're like, I would like it more if it was every week if this and this and this were in the cards, right? Your thoughts on that would be pretty cool too. So because that's a big thing. We talk about what we want, what we think the future is, but we have the greatest resource at our disposal, which is all you taters, in your feedback, your thoughts, your ideas, because you're the reason why we keep doing this, right? If we had 17 of you watch the podcast every episode, we probably would have quit a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we have slightly more than that.
Yeah.
So we're happy with that. And we're happy with each and every one of you that finds us too. It's nothing gets me more rejuvenated than thinking about the podcast was when in the Facebook group, you find people that have found the podcast and they're working their way through the backlog.
Yeah.
That feels so freaking cool to me because...
Man, I wish that was a thing with videos and YouTube channels.
Yeah. Like they realize it and they go back through. I think it does, and you don't hear about it as much.
Yeah.
But there's something about the passiveness of a podcast.
Yeah, you're totally right.
That allows you to consume it and catch up at a rate that, as opposed to the real active nature of having to watch a video and cannot be doing really other things.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe people are so busy nowadays that they can't actually sit down and just actively engage in a video. That's an interesting thought for a later time.
Yeah, for a later conversation. So thank you all in advance for your feedback and for doing a little crowdsourcing for information from you. We always, whether or not you even know that you're doing it, if you make a YouTube or you make a YouTube comment or you make a Facebook post and stuff, we listen, we see those. So we really appreciate those, and those do help us kind of keep the boat steered or change directions a bit to go with what you find most valuable.
Yeah. All right.
So what about your channel, Scott? What's the future of your channel look like? Or what are you thinking? What are your plans? What are you hoping for? Or what are you kind of strategizing for?
Yeah. So firstly, my fulfillment for my Kickstarter campaign is starting.
Oh, baby!
It's the last step in the process, baby.
God damn it. I mean, okay. So I'm just an outside viewer for 94% of what your Kickstarter has been. I've only been behind the scenes for one. interacting with you and seeing things in the pace of things that go, and then 2, the stuff for the masterclass painting part.
Yeah.
But I've backed my fair share of Kickstarters, and I know there's that 12 to 18, sometimes more month period from when the Kickstarter ends until you get your shit.
Luckily, we're not in the 18 month yet.
Oh, I mean,
we're approaching though.
But I mean, that's people understand that if they know Kickstarter.
Do they?
I mean, they do. The vast majority do. Unfortunately, the ones you see and you hear from are in the Kickstarter comment section.
Yeah,
are the 5% that don't understand how things work.
I have this whole thought process about Kickstarter and like the learning experience. I'm gonna encapsulate in a video, but you're kind of touching on one of the sticking points is people's expectations that have been formed by larger companies using Kickstarter as an outreach platform as opposed to what it's meant for. But there's like a whole thing I've been thinking about regarding that. But do you have a question about Kickstarter and stuff, or a comment you're making?
No, I guess my overarching comment to that was having enough behind the scenes to this and knowing kind of timelines from projects I've backed is we as consumers of Kickstarter don't often realize how many micro steps there are and how they're just they turn into a mountain. And when you aren't a big company like a CMON, that they're just going through manufacturing the same way they would, whether or not they had a Kickstarter to get a product to the consumer at X phase. When it's a small mom and pop shop, which Kickstarters most are or should be, or very small teams, it is a lot. And there's a reason why it takes a while, because a lot of those decisions, as you could probably attest to, which I've seen, you have to hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
You hurry up to get your thing to a level, and then you're waiting on other people.
Yeah.
And you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting. And meanwhile, you're the one building the stress in your shoulders around wanting to get this to people, but you don't have 100% control over every little aspect, nor would anybody doing a Kickstarter.
It's very true. And so, like with my YouTube channel, if I fuck up and I quote too many sponsorships in a month, I can just work a fuckload and solve that problem. Mm-hmm. There is no amount of hours I can work to make someone else do a thing for me. It comes down to them doing it or me replacing that person if I'm financially able to do that. So it's like that is a really challenging thing and can slow down the process a lot. But the reason I don't bring it up to talk about it, I bring it up because in June we're going to I'm going to work on I have a couple videos that are pretty easy to do. I'm going to get them done in like the first week, 2 weeks, and then the rest of the month is going to be me finishing my Ranger course while Alex finishes the other 2. Ben's is done, but he has like a spreadsheet of feedback that's like, I don't know, like 100 rows long that we have to go through, and then we have to do a couple things for yours.
Ben, we're going to just let it be.
He cares a lot, and I love that he cares a lot.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that his class matches his vision for what he was wanting to teach. Because if he doesn't believe in it, then he won't tell people about it and be proud of it. I want to be proud of it.
Ben, you're smothering me. But your love is like a plastic bag over my head.
So hopefully when that stuff is done in June or July, Alex will be freed up to help me with YouTube videos. At the moment, he does help me a little bit. He has like an assistant editing job that sets up the video for me to come in and just like walk through it much more easily than if I had to do all that work.
So like you bump, he sets,
and I crush it.
And you spike.
Mostly I like hit it out of bounds, but I try.
But he did his job.
He did his job. Yeah, it was a good pass. So what I'm excited for is what that's going to allow me to do on my channel. After this Kickstarter campaign is done, I'm going to put fucking blinders on, and the only thing that I'm going to see in front of me is that gigantic red YouTube play button. I'm going to put my YouTube goggles on, and I'm going to try and make as much fucking content as I can. I'm so inspired by Eons of Battle and like how much energy they have and how much they just fucking throw at the wall just to like really make it work. And I'm going to try to do that in my way as best as possible. And so what this is leading to is he's going to help me make more content. Hopefully more content leads to more revenue. More revenue leads to me hiring contract hosts to come in and film their own videos, which leads to more revenue because more videos. Second editor, permanent second host, permanent third editor, permanent third host. I like I've said this before, I want to become the Linus Tech Tips of miniature painting. I want weekly content about terrain, about gaming, about painting, about fun shit. I want it to come out. I want a fucking video goddamn week. A video every day of the work week. Let's fucking go. That's like 5 years away. But that's what I want. Like I am so sick of my attention being drained away from these ancillary things that don't elevate the main pillar of my business. I want to lift that part up so that everything else can thrive and be good. But I gotta focus my love and attention on the most important thing, which is just more videos. I'm so sick of my channel sucking dick and not getting the views. I want to fucking crush it on YouTube again. I feel like I'm not crushing it right now, so I want to get back to that. And I feel like that the answer is just to YouTube has never given me a handout. It feels like I've always had to grind for it, and so I want to grind for it. I'm in a grind for it mood right now.
So you're saying you're going to launch another Kickstarter?
No. That is never happening. There are two things that will need to happen if I do that, and I'll go over those two things in the video about Kickstarter. Okay. And they all involve me doing fuck all. Other than making the product, obviously, that would be sold. But yeah, dude,
you'd have someone comes up to you with a clipboard. And then you review it, and you just put a little red check mark.
Well, yeah, but if it's like a model,
I sign off on this, but that's all you would.
Well, no. If it's a model, I'm going to design the model. I'm going to find the concept art. I'm going to give them the ideas. I'm going to review the sketch. I'm going to review the sculpt. I'll do all that shit. But once it's done, okay, deal with manufacturing, deal with making all the assets for the campaign, deal with backer outreach, deal with setting up backer kit, deal with fulfillment, do all that bullshit, do the collect the funds, do all that stuff for me. I don't want to do any of that shit. So that's one of those things that I would need to ever consider doing a campaign ever again. But yeah, I don't want to get into that. So that's where I don't know. Amber recently asked me this question, and she was like, "Do you ever see yourself like moving somewhere that has a lower cost of living and just like kind of chilling out?" And I was just like, like in my current state of mind, in my current life, I don't see myself doing that. Maybe like when I have less drive and more wisdom when I'm older, maybe I would do that. But right now I'm just so gung-ho, and have been for many years, about growth and YouTube and stuff like that. And while I have this energy and drive, I want to use it as best as possible. And that's what I'm feeling like right now. I feel like I really want to invest in my channel, and kind of, I don't know, I have this thought of my channel that I have languished for so fucking long. I used to get a lot of views and be very relevant, and now I'm really kind of falling back behind, and I don't want to just lay down and die. I really want to like step up and crush it, and kind of have like a little bit of a comeback. And maybe I'm just imagining all this shit in my head. That's how it feels, and that's what's leading me to make these choices.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think your how you see it and how an outsider sees it are different. I don't view your channel and its current state in a negative light. I think that there was
Seriously?
a stutter. I think that you have a stutter. You've had a stutter, and when I have gone back and I've kind of reverse engineered your channel a little bit, because I think it's important to learn from other people. One, but there's success,
for sure.
Yeah, there's successes, there's stumbles, failures,
everything,
this and that. And I think that you had, and I don't even know if it was any fault of your own, you had a bunch of things all hit at the same time, and the plates that were dropped or were not maybe given as much attention as you would have liked were the spine of your business, right? So you had all the stuff with the Kickstarter, all this stuff with the move to your office. Those are the main two things.
Yeah.
That all kind of hit at one time. And because of that, you were had no choice but to fall behind a bit on the videos.
Right.
And you have been seeing that and climbing back up that hill from where you slid down a bit.
Man, and it is such a fucking climb, dude. It is like, I thought making 4 videos in a month would like kind of like just give me a little bit of a spike back, but it really hasn't. And I'm just like fuck, okay, I'm gonna have to really, really grind at this. And the other thing about that is that I would love to have more processes in place that allow me to do more of what I want to do and less of what I don't want to do. So if I could have an employee who manages my sponsorship relations, who is the person who is doing outreach, finding those ad spots, doing the communication, doing the invoicing, asking for assets, diverting those assets to where they need to go. If I had someone to manage my inbox and just so I could just do less of what I hate and more video making and miniature painting and playing games, that'd be so cool too. So like I really want to try to take some work off my plate. I'll let other people do it who are employed to do it or who would rather do it so that I can do what no one else can do, which is paint like I do, make videos like I do, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think to transition to my thoughts of my future,
please do.
is it's kind of an interesting dichotomy here. Is my view on it is the more people you bring on board, right? So you use more staff, the more you're actually, in my opinion, the more you're actually not doing what you really want to do. This is just the kind of the way my personality is, my approach of thing is,
sure,
how I've worked in management before in a couple of other careers, is you end up finding yourself further than arm's length of the thing that really got me excited about it. And so how I approach my future and how I differ from you, and I actually think both can be very successful and both can achieve what we're wanting to achieve out of them.
Sure.
Is to stay as close to it as I can. And by that I mean I don't want employees.
That's fine, yeah.
I don't want people to manage, to micromanage, to trust into them, all these things. I have a friend that does contract editing for me that does kind of the thing you were talking about with Alex, where he'll take all my painting footage, and he's gotten quite good at it, and he kind of condenses it down. So he basically, sets me up, and I'm more and more as he gets more proficient, I'm kind of folding in little bits, and I'd like to continue to do that. Those are the kinds of things where I am on the same wavelength as you. The kinds of things that take the amount of hours, but aren't having a massive effect on what your channel is bringing to the world, right? Mm-hmm. Your final product.
Yeah.
And so I want to do that. But I also want to try to keep enough of a balance in my life that I don't feel like have the pressure of, I need to make sure we make all this money so I can pay them so they can afford their mortgage and their kids' college education and all these kinds of things. That's not something I'm personally interested in right now.
Yeah, you kind of like risking and stuff like that.
Yeah, like every decision you make is not just about you then.
Yeah.
And I don't trust that I would uphold to myself how I would approach decision making. And I think there are people probably more wise or more business savvy than me that would do that correctly. And so I want to make sure that I can hold true to what my channel and me is. I just want the channel to still feel personable and reflective, and that me, because it's just me. And I want, if I can hold true to that, I think that I won't deviate too far from things.
That's true.
So I want to continue to grow at my own manageable rate, and I am happy with that, and I'm happy with where I'm at, and I still have areas where I want to grow. I want to optimize, right? So I want to make sure that the quality of the things, I'm going to keep looking for optimizations and keep looking for ways that people enjoy it more, keep looking for cool ways to improve, to reach out to people in different ways in the videos, but at a rate that does not burn the candle at both ends, at a rate where...
How do you do that? It feels impossible to do that.
Yeah. I think it's got to be just like, to climb, as you see, like when you've gotten so far, whether that's 100,000 subscribers, whether that's hitting 100,000 views on an average video in its first month that it's out, or whatever your level of success is for where you're at in your career, for us in the YouTube side of things, to realize that when you look back down the hill of what it took you to get there was a lot of little steps to get there, to approach the future changes in the same way. So for me, it's how do I speed up this one little part of the process that it takes me 2 hours every time to do it? How can I cut a half hour off of that over the course of the next month by maybe learning the back end of the software better? Maybe it's finding a bit of tech that allows me to get cool B-rolls that I can keep set up, that it doesn't take me a lot of tear down and setup time. Maybe it's trying to find creative ways to touch the things that really excite me about the hobby right now and take down the barriers to just allow me to do that, because I know if I do that, the video will do better no matter what the video is on, and it will stay true to the people that really like my stuff if I don't try to make it bigger than it needs to be, that kind of thing. So that's my approach right now. Is I do not want to set massive goals for myself, because I also think I'm at a much different place than you, in that the level of what I would call any success that I've had in YouTube is still very new. I'm still kind of in this, I've hit it, and now I kind of don't know what to do with it, right? And I don't want to make big decisions too soon.
Sure.
You know?
You can very easily accept way too much work and then become overwhelmed. So it's like really good once you've like kind of hit your stride, just to kind of wait.
Yeah.
And like what like, okay, it's still working. Now that I kind of established this baseline, can I add anything else on? Like, and if I do, what is that going to be? It's like it's really easy, and I've done it all the time, where like you like really get hyped about making a ton of success, and then you add on a bunch of bullshit that does not help you grow at all, but it just consumes more time.
Yeah.
That's a real risk.
And the balance there too, right?
Yeah.
So at some point that actually has a negative effect on your life, whether it's your business, whether it's your family life.
My God, yes.
Whether it's getting all the responsibilities around the house done, all those kinds of things. Is like, and I've felt that. I've stumbled a couple times now, and it's not been a good thing. And it's like, I have to learn from those, and I realize it could have been much worse. And to really think about before you make new jumps or new endeavors or take on a new task. So I'm trying to really be careful about that. It's kind of been my goal for 2023, is to really, one, appreciate this, right? Because right now I'm really happy with what I do for a living, and I really want to make the people that support me and watch my videos, to make them feel like the thing they got was worth their 20 minutes or their 15 minutes. And so if I can do that, I kind of feel like the path will kind of clear for me, and I'll feel confident in whatever decision I make.
Sure.
So we're in different spots right now, and I think we always will be, because you've been doing this for much longer, and you have a lot more things figured out than I do. And I also think that you don't realize you do, which is a good thing, right? Because there's a lot of things that I know that you have down pat, and you'll just mention them in passing, or I'll just see like the way your shit is set up, or the way the minor things that I see that you do in your videos that make them so good that I don't do, that you like. I'm like, man, you've got so much stuff figured out, but you only see it from your perspective. So you don't realize you do, and oftentimes we're harder on ourselves. I think especially the people that are the most successful in whatever walk of life or whatever thing they're trying to be good at don't realize it, because you live it. And so
thank you. I really appreciate the kind words, honestly. Like it means the most coming from other YouTubers who like can notice all those tiny things. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And so give yourself a moment of a break to be happy or be proud, and don't use that to be complacent, obviously.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Can't be happy yet, John.
Yeah.
I'll be happy when I achieve global domination.
Yeah. I mean, there's the 40-year-old John saying, if you and I know I don't need to tell you this, but if you're always waiting for something else to make you happy, you're never going to be happy.
This is very true.
You
so
know?
one thing you really touched on is having energy to like be a husband or a father, right?
Yeah.
And so like, unless there was something burning my house down, like a clogged drain or something like that, I can't tell you the last time I did anything on my honey-do list.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come home, I have zero energy. I have energy to hang out with my wife and do fun things that she wants to do and like maybe make dinner. And then in the evening, man, I'm just sitting on a couch and I'm fucking watching YouTube or some dumb bullshit. I don't have any energy to do anything outside of that. Like my personal hobby desk at my house has just, it's nowhere. It's nothing. It's unusable. I haven't set it up and I've moved into my office a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And so it's something you don't really think about. It's like, how am I able to do my job here in such a way that I can come home and still be a husband, be a father, like in an effective way, take care of my homestead, all these things you don't really think about until you're having issues with your partner, or like until like your house is in a total disarray because you haven't been able to clean up something that was a mess 6 months ago. And it's like, so this is something I've been talking about with my business coach, is that like I need to figure out like what I'm capable of doing in the amount of hours I want to work in a week, which is like 50. I'm happy with 50, and then offload the rest of it to people who are able to do it if possible, and if I can afford to do that, so that I can then come home and still lead a successful life outside of this. Like there's more than just this, and I have to say that all the time to myself. But yeah, that's a place that I'm not currently at. Like I haven't had that figured out, but that's also a thing I would love to fix for the future. Just opening more bandwidth for things outside of YouTube in my personal life.
Yeah, I think no matter what the goody peepees do for a living, that we can all relate to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where it's like if I have my energy bar is at 100, if I got a good night's sleep for the day, I should not be using all 100 of those energy in my work day.
No.
And that's especially hard for us, is like we live and die by our own work, as you are your own small business and those kinds of things. And it's easier to just burn through all of that and then still try to eke out more than that 100 in a given day. And then you don't have any energy for the other things that are very important in your life.
Yeah.
And whether that's that's going to be getting exercise, making sure you make good food for yourself. Make sure your dogs get attention and they get exercise. Make sure that your spouse gets quality time and you are mentally there and listening and present. And I am terrible at being present, and it's something I really trying to work out, because my brain our brains are very similar in that like you're always kind of turning about what's the next thing that I'm thinking about or working on or next goal or whatever. It's like, and that can get you.
It can. If your wife says something to you and then she's like, what did I just say? And you're like,
something about the garbage.
Something about dogs. Yeah. It's just like, it doesn't matter what your answer is. If it's anything short of what she fucking said, you look like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are an asshole. And it's just like, yeah. And that's the hardest thing to fix too, because it happens. It's like, it's almost second nature.
Yeah.
It's like I was in Cane's yesterday. We were sitting waiting for our food, and I saw someone on an iPad watching the spaghetti meatballs in the cloud fucking cartoon movie. What the fuck's it called? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, something like that?
Yeah, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
And immediately my brain started spinning on some fucking YouTube video idea, and I just missed a 20-second conversation that my wife was talking to me about. And I didn't even think about what I was doing, and it's just like, how do you fix that problem? It's something that's so second nature to you. I don't know the answer to that question, but it's a problem.
Yeah, it's too So I found like, I need to actively prioritize and make sure that I am present, or make sure that these things take some of my energy for the day, even if it's prep, even if it's planning, even if it's whatever it is, that's important. And that finding that balance can often be very difficult, especially if you look to people, if you idolize or you look up to people that are successful in any other mode of business or whatever, and you were to peek behind the curtain, and you often see their personal life is shambles, or it's not there, it's non-existent. So what do you want your life to be and what are you willing to give up in order to achieve that is can be very difficult, and finding that balance and getting help too, right? You're talking about having staff or this, that, or the other. It's like having that support so then you can, commit some energy to a work-life balance is what they call it in corporate America.
You know what? The most important thing that we didn't discuss was work-life balance. We discussed wives, dogs, foods, house, your job. How about you, bro?
Yeah.
How about the time that you need for yourself to do things that you need to do? Like, that is the last thing on the fucking list. Yeah. And that can really turn you into a husk of a human being if you ignore that for a year.
Yeah.
That's
it. I found like had unhealthy habits that I established over COVID.
Yeah. Eating habits, all of that.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, in the last month especially, I've hit it hard. And I was like, okay, I'm eating healthier. I exercise. Now, if I count walking the dogs, it's exercise 2 times a day. I do, I make sure that I'm getting all my vitamins, taking good care of my diabetes, all these kinds of things where it's like, man, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of mental power. It takes a lot of, it's taking away other things. And I feel like, honestly, in the last month as I've been doing that, I feel like I haven't committed as much to the YouTube channel. I get my videos done in time. I'm still proud of the thing that I make, but it's just like, I have to be okay with that, So I feel like if you're not, your own mental health is really important too. And I think that you are when you're talking about like just vegging out and just doing something fun in the evening.
That's for me, for sure.
Yeah, that adds 100% his value. His mental health is allowing you to recharge your batteries. So I know we've both had, I just had Monday when I did everything set up for this video for the Terminators. It was a 13.5-hour work day I put in that day.
Yeah, dude, fuck that.
And that was because I did everything in one day where I had multiple cameras set up for everything. So I was doing all the recording of the footage. I was doing all the recording on my talking head. I was doing all the recording B-roll or whatever. And to do everything to do that, in order for me to be able to get that video out, to get to GW for they can say it's okay because it's part of their fucking Leviathan box launch, to get them that link, to get everything set up, to go to TMX, to be here this morning when I left this morning, to have everything set and with a bow on. It was a shitload of work.
Yeah.
But we kind of have to do that in order to set yourself up for be like having a weekend where I'm doing fun things with the boys and going to an expo.
Yeah. Ain't no one else gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so you can't just like throw a fucking week off on your calendar for a vacation because you get 3 weeks a year or whatever, and just being like, oh, the Friday before, it's like, oh shit, that's right, I'm off next week.
Yeah.
That thought does not exist to us. We don't get oh shit, that's right, I took next week off.
Yeah.
No.
I have a slight runny nose. I'm not calling sick today. It's like, no, bro, you are feeling sick. Get your ass in. Like, you have shit to finish.
Yeah, that's but I mean, this is not fucking complaining because we get to do pretty awesome things.
It is, yeah.
The only other thing I want to talk about real quick before we end the main topic here is, and if you had more stuff, that's cool too, but the other thing that I decided I wanted to do is when I went to that local art show or like a little art fair thing.
Yeah.
And I found an amazing illustrator local to my town. And she's great. And we've been starting conversation with her and cool ideas for like merch. I want to put out a new shirt. But it just made me think more of like, I really feel fun about working a relationship with another local artist or local craftsperson or whatever. To be able to do something to collaborate, and even if it's make a cool shirt design, even if it's help me come up with a cool gadget that I can use, for behind the scenes for making videos and that kind of stuff, that really feels fulfilling, and it's helping my business, and it's maybe bringing something cool new into the world, and it's working with talented people, especially local talented people. So I'd like to do more of that moving forward.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I want to mention is that you kind of mentioned that there is some fear of hiring other employees that you will lose the face of your channel. And one thing I've always appreciated about Linus Tech Tips is that even though he was the CEO of his channel, he no longer is, of his company, Linus Media Group, he still appears on the main channel, I don't know, 70, 80, 90% of all the content as the main host, being the person talking to the camera and being that face of his channel. And so I really appreciate how he was able to do that and still, run his company and still be like the main face that everyone kind of comes back to and knows and recognizes. And he does have many other hosts that he was slowly like rolled into his channel that everyone has also begun to appreciate, that have their own flavor on the channel, but still kind of the ship is still being steered by Linus in the direction that he wants creatively. And I hope to be able to achieve that, but it's definitely on my mind, right? I wouldn't want to sacrifice the kinds of videos that I like to make, the kind of style I like to make, just to get more content out the door. That's definitely on my mind. If you're a listener and you're hearing that, I'm thinking about it. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Hundo P.
I think we're ready for some newsy news.
Out of the news, let's fucking do it.
Let us do this. Okay, so first things first. John has to find where news is on there. Okay. We talked last episode about the unfortunate passing of Cathy Wappel, who lost her battle with cancer. James Wappel, who is her husband, surviving husband, he recently made a post that's out there that he's in the process of kind of getting himself all ready to start working again, start streaming again. He's kind of like renovating his hobby room and that kind of thing to have multiple workstations.
I've seen the pictures, yes.
Yeah, which is, looks like he's like in the eye of the hurricane.
Yeah. It's a bit of a fucking catastrophe at the moment.
But there's one thing that I always love about the Wappels is that there is the beauty in the chaos, and they are true artists in that it is them, one and all. But there is a GoFundMe out there that's been started in memory of Cathy Wappel to help with final expenses, to help with Jim with his lost income for taking care of Cathy, especially since the beginning of May when she first entered the hospital, and obviously there's not been any family income there. So if you want to find a way to maybe honor Cathy, to support James in this rough time, check out him streaming once he gets back up. Also his YouTube channel. You can check out some amazing catalog of back videos there, but we'll put a link to the GoFundMe for Cathy. If any support is out there from the Goody PP Nation, I know that it would be put to a good cause.
Yeah, it's battleforcathy.betterworld.org if you're an audio listener, or if you can't check out the show notes or description below. But yeah, just like us, James makes money when he is doing things. There isn't a ton of passive income, and when there is, it always drops when you stop having a presence on social media. So yeah, that's something to consider. On to other miniature related content. GW released the core factions of Warhammer Underworld. So there are
Old World.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, Old World. There are 7 factions. I can't remember how many. There are some factions that are the main storyline of Old World. And do you know what little faction is part of the main storyline that I am very excited about?
Not fucking undead.
Not fucking
vampires.
undead.
It's fucking Tomb Kings. Who gives a fuck? Okay, go ahead.
It is Tomb Kings, but it's also fucking Wood Elves.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I don't care about the vampire counts so much because I have like an army for AOS and I'm really happy with it aesthetically and like what it does. So I don't need it in this game too, but I'm so happy that one of my other favorite factions is going to be one of the special children and get some love and attention. The other ones are getting free PDFs, but they in the article, it made them seem like they were very lesser than.
It is very much just like a lip service.
That's what it is. Yeah.
It's like, there's models for these. Oh, they did exist before. We're not committing that much to this game. So
yeah.
If you want to, and then who knows how well they're going to even be supported or balanced or whatever. So There's 9 core factions: Empire of Man, Dwarf Mountain Holds, Kingdom of Bretonnia, Wood Elf Realms, and High Elf Realms on the good side. On the bad side, it's Orc and Goblin tribes, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and Tomb Kings of Khmeri. This doesn't excite me in the fucking least bit when I look at this list. It's so dumb. Like, I get it. Okay, so I get that there is 2 different human factions here, but it bothers the fuck out of me when you only have 9 factions that you're supporting and 2 of them are fucking humans. Why can't you just have 1 human, 1 dwarf? I'm kind of okay with the 2 elves because they're so distinct. and there's not a big if you have lizard men, they're pushing real hard with the new stuff with Seraphon in Age of Sigmar, so whatever.
Maybe that's what it is. A lot of the factions that didn't get a lot of love in AOS are getting love here.
Yes,
it's like Cities of Sigmar is Wood Elves, High Elves, Dark Elves, Dwarves, men all put into one I don't give a fuck book. And so maybe this is kind of like, okay, now we're going to have them all blown up and have their own thing. I also think it depends on like what their whole narrative is for this new world. Maybe that's what decided a lot of this. I have no idea. There's probably a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. The
rules are free though for those 7 factions.
Warriors of Chaos. It's like, well, that's already a big thing in Age of Sigmar.
It's true. A lot of that, breaks down a bit.
And I'm sure they couldn't completely separate it from. It would be awesome, in the ideal world. It would be this. Wood Elves are in there because Wood Elves are not really represented in Age of Sigmar. Okay?
Exactly, yes.
I want all of their factions to be like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's Orcs and Goblins. Orcs and Goblins I'm cool with because it can be heavier on the Goblin theme. It can be more fun and whatever, not like these big chonker Orcs and whatever. Like you have more room to go there. But a lot of these like Dwarves, just standard Dwarves that doesn't exist in Age of Sigmar right now. I love that that's a thing,
Exactly.
Well, if there was fucking, like true Dark Elves would be fucking badass.
That would be cool, yeah.
But anyway, it's a thing. It's a news item. Is it really been this many years already that they said it was so far out, and it actually doesn't seem like it is, but cool. Okay. I'm just.
You doing some live editing right now? GW put out a battle report for 10th edition. It is a cool 30 minutes long. It's a representation of what will be on Warhammer Plus, but they put a free one out on their YouTube channel. And it's 30 minutes, and they also enabled the comments.
What?
Yes, you can comment on this video. And, no surprise, it is all fucking love for GW. And it's like, look at this. I don't understand why it was disabled in the first place. Maybe because they were using videos as a way to embed shit on their website and not as a YouTube channel. Happy to see comments on that video. I didn't watch the video yet, but it had the 2 people that ran us through Horus Heresy, and those guys they had just so much fucking energy.
Oh yeah.
So I got to imagine that the presentation in the video is also super solid, and that they're representing the hobby well. Wanted to have equal parts fun and also tactics. So it was cool to see all those things.
So speaking of Warhammer, and speaking of comments, our next section, our next piece of news also attributes that, because the original form of commenting on something was to send a letter.
Nice segue.
And if you wanted to send a letter and you wanted to put a postage stamp on it, now you can have a 40th anniversary Warhammer postage stamp based off of the Royal Mail 10 commemorative stamps.
I think if I were GW, this would be the point at which I'd be like, yeah, I made it. I have my own commemorative fucking stamps?
Commemorative stamps.
Through the goddamn government? You guys are good.
They feature pictures like minis of Chaos Warriors, Space Marines, but most interestingly, some really old, awesome art, including an old Rogue Trader piece by John Civic.
Oh.
So that's kind of cool. They're paying some homage to the history of Warhammer. I think that's kind of cool. Seeing as Games Workshop is I think it is the biggest company in England. Maybe they should make. Maybe they should.
BBC is probably bigger, right?
What?
BBC?
I can't imagine from profit standpoint it is.
It's okay. I think you might be right, because it is largely government funded. But I mean, maybe from employee count.
Yeah, maybe what they should do is, because this is such a big deal, they should have the king dress up as the emperor or something. They could do a whole scene.
Should Andy Smiley get knighted?
Sure. Sure. They could do a whole like a Last Supper kind of a scene with the emperor, and King Charles is the emperor in the scene, and they have his sons are the little cherubs putting the shoulder pads on him. Have them all smiling with their crooked teeth. So yeah, that's my wish. You got the stamp. Now let's bring it to the royal family.
Yeah. In an effort to diversify our news section so it's not all fucking Warhammer, Night Model teased some new minis for the Batman miniature games, including Vengeance, which I learned today is Bane's daughter, the 10-Eyed Man, a man who can see from his fingertips, and also the classic Outlaw Red Hood. If you're into any of those models, we'll have the thing linked below so you can check them out. I'm always impressed with their box arts. They always have the nicest looking models. And with them transitioning from like pewter to trying out Cyocast or Ceocast, it's interesting to see where Night Models is going with their range.
Yeah. One more non-GW related thing I've got here for you. It's an interesting one. Atomic Mass Games.
Oh yeah.
Who makes what's the Marvel game? I keep forgetting what's
Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Also Shatterpoint.
Oh, they make Shatterpoint too, right?
And also now Legion and Armada.
Oh gosh, look at these guys.
They have absorbed all of FFG's Star Wars licenses, I believe.
Rip. So they released what they're calling a communications roundup, and it sounds like this is going to be a more regular thing, where they specifically where they candidly answer questions. And this one's specifically around points updates to their Star Wars games. So it sounds like they're going to have a very transparent way of gathering questions and answering them to the community. So it feels like there's a tighter connection. They're trying to establish a tighter connection to their player base, their games, in a candid way in a regular forum. That's great. Writer Goblin James said that it's not so much about this being a massive news point. It's about transparency and communication being a big thing. And I applaud them for that. I hope they keep it up. I hope it's a way that's the kind of a thing that certain companies do that in the video game sphere. And it's like really applauded. And on the flip side, companies that don't do that, it's like, the Reddit goblins will just fucking start going
just like that.
Yeah, that's the sound that they make on Reddit. Everybody that's typing a post on Reddit, that is the sound that they make while their keyboard is clicking.
Oh no!
That is how you can kind of gain some connection and some buyer. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't really know.
Buyer confidence.
Yeah, sure. You have some connectivity to your brand, and I think that's important. So good on them. Good on you, Atomic Mass.
All right, last one. Warhammer Skulls 2023, which was hosted by Rahul Kohli, someone you recently collaborated with, announced the release of Space Marine 2. I don't know if you ever played Space Marine 1, but it was a very fun third-person Space Marine-centric shooter. Like, you got to play as an assault marine, a heavy marine, or I think a typical tactical marine. I loved playing as the heavy, rocking a las cannon, because that was basically the equivalent of running around with a huge ass sniper rifle and just 360 no scoping bitches. So that was a lot of fun. But 2 is coming out, and also along with that, a board game called Space Marine, the board game. And I looked at the article, and the picture that I saw was a singular Space Marine on a flat cardboard board, surrounded by like a bazillion Tyranids. And I was just like, Jesus Christ.
It looked like a fucking Monopoly board where someone was playing as a Space Marine instead of the fucking thimble.
Yeah. So it was just like, okay, I don't know how good that game's going to be, but it was kind of fun. But if you are a fan of the Space Marine video game franchise, you're getting the second one.
Or just play the superior Gears of War games. Okay. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Video games.
What? You fucking talked about WoW for so long at the beginning of this. You love video games.
I do. I love video games that aren't like obvious cash grabs on an existing IP.
Shots fired.
Yeah. That said, Bolt Gun does look pretty sweet, so I'm going to have to try that one.
See, that I disagree with. That is just fucking Doom with a 40K skin. Yeah. That is a cash grab to me.
I know I'm going to play it for like a day and feel like I did the thing, and I'm cool with it being, like it's a popcorn flick of a game that I'm not like.
Oh, there you go. Popcorn flick video game.
Yeah.
Fair.
I could just sit down and play a couple days, feel like, this was pretty sweet, and then eventually the shininess wears off pretty quick, and then I'm cool with just like, it wasn't that much money. It's fine.
Okay. Welcome to the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening all the way through. We appreciate your ears and spending your ears on listening to us. If you want to support the podcast, there are many ways to do it. John, what's one of those ways?
You can whitelist this thing on your browsery thing, so when you get the ads, you don't get our ads, and we make a nickel.
We'll catch you on the Flippy Pop. Yeah, we run ads every 30 minutes on the podcast. And if you use a browser extension to whitelist our channel, you will see those ads. That's a free way to support our channel and give us, like, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a penny each ad. I don't know how much it is.
It's not that much.
But it does help. And it's free for you to do. I mean, unless you consider your time and money, then it's not free. Other ways that you can support us for free is you can share our podcast with your friends. You can share our podcast with your mom. Specifically you, Diane.
We appreciate you listening.
You can also review our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us 5-star ratings only, please. And you can also, if you got some, if you got some cash to spend on us, you can buy our merch from our Teespring store, linked down in the description below. You can support us on Patreon, where you get access to an extended episode wherein we talk about models from other painters we love and appreciate and why we love those models. We give feedback to one of our community members, one of our patrons, and we also talk about new things that we tried in the hobby and have experimented with and failed and found some success in. So you get a little bit extra of an episode to listen to for about 20 more minutes.
God, yeah, that was a lot of words.
I know.
Did you say you can buy a merch?
Yeah, you can buy a whole merch.
You can buy a merch from us?
You can buy maybe sometimes a half a merch, maybe a discounted merch.
You could buy a mug merch. You could buy a sweatpants merch. You can buy a T-shirt merch.
Yeesh. All those merchies.
Those are a lot of things. As you can tell, we are ready for lunch.
Yes.
And we go through... I don't really think about it until like when I'm driving home after we record this podcast, and I'm just kind of like, man, I think I spent like 8 hours of energy in 2 hours of recording the podcast.
Are you ever just like, man, what the fuck did I say?
Every time.
Every time. Yeah, like an episode will come out, like I forget what I say like 24 hours after I say it.
Yeah.
But like the episode comes out like days later. And then I always get like pings on Discord where it's like, haha, here's a response to a question you had. I'm like,
I don't remember that question.
What was the question? You answer right now? But yeah, that's the thing.
I will listen to every one of our podcasts. Because,
you do that?
Yeah, I do. Because I don't remember. And then I'm like, oh shit. Like I'll find myself laughing. And I'm like, man, I'm glad that I'm not like racist or something, because I would just randomly say something terrible. I still am worried that like my weird brain will say something horrible and I will listen to it later. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, did I say that?
Yeah. So Alex has got you covered. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. But no, I mean, we honestly, I think, when I think back about it and I remember the things we say, he doesn't like get our evilness in there. If we did, like, you'd come to TUP Live, you'd just know because you'd be there listening to it.
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot of editing that has to go on with the podcast other than removing the odd pee break and also us talking about like business in between segments.
Right, yeah. So yeah, we talk about classic World of Warcraft. You're in for it, like it or not. Get that roasted quail recipe. Make sure you get that before you leave Durotar.
Strider stew, yeah.
Okay, well, I think with that, we should probably be done. So we're going to be back here in a fortnight. Until then, we'll catch you on the
Flippity flop.